So the question was, hey Jamie, when are you going to start Valentine projects? And the answer is, I already have. If you watch my unboxing from the last video that I posted here, I shared one project already. Oh, you want to see it again? Oh, I thought you might. Actually, it's become part of this inspiration board that I have literally just been playing with. And so here is an A2 vellum envelope, and I added some clustering pieces to it. So check out that video for more details on that. But okay, I might have to address this whole inspiration board here because it's just been a lot of fun. Okay, I digress. So I want to take advantage today of ScrapbookCom's live stream and this Valentine bundle that just came out. It's available as a bundle right now and then includes this Valentine pattern paper, this sweet Valentine stamp set, as well as this Valentine 26-piece die set. Okay, so what did I make with it? I made this Be My Valentine card, tag, MemoryDex. It kind of fits all sorts of genres of making. Plus, I made this one a pocket. And so this could even sit on a scrapbook page in a planner, and then you got a place for popping in even more tags or more clusters. Oh yeah, and by the way, we'll be doing a couple more clusters on here today besides just this card here. But let me show you how I made this card. Okay, so of course I use the Valentine pattern paper. Well, maybe not of course, but I did use this Valentine paper pat, and these are the colors I used. I used the solid pink, this sort of a grid, this plaid, and then this old school grammar book lines. Those are super fun. And you can see here that I have collected some die cut pieces, which I cut from this Valentine die set. So the little envelope here, and I mean little, comes from this envelope here. I have these confetti stars. I call them confetti stars. It's this die set right here. Super coolio. Also, this envelope includes an insert to it. And then also I cut this key. The key was key for me. So there's the key, right? There's a background for it as well, if you like to make also the backdrop shadow for it as well. And then one of the small hearts, which actually can also act as cherries. They can sit on here. I kept them as hearts though. And then in addition to that, I also am using the nested stamp Polaroids. Oh my gosh. Yes, I know. I can't get enough of these framed dies. And so that's what that is here. We're going to be putting that to use today. And also this is new here in the studio. It's this basic banner from Pink Fresh. Super love it. That's where these banners right here came from the solid paper. And then also, I haven't made it yet, but we're going to make the sentiment using the Sweet Valentine die set. Okay, to start, I just cut this A2 paper completely in half. You may be familiar with MemoryDex, which I talk about. I actually have a couple classes for MemoryDex on my classroom site. And so MemoryDex is a concept of making and memory and art and making. Did I mention making? And so this isn't quite that size. This is actually slightly longer, but the paper is A2 size. So I just wanted to keep it at that width. Okay, something else I have here on my table is from 49 and Market. It is a ticket, and I've already cut it in half. I used it on this one here, and so it's going to be put to use on this as well. What I like to do when I cluster and when I add elements is just kind of set everything up. I don't always know. I mean, I know now, obviously, what I want to accomplish here on this surface for this paper making, but I don't always, obviously, to start, know exactly what that's going to be. And so just layering everything in helps, right? Real quick here, I'm just going to add some 1/8 inch pieces to this little envelope. I want it to stay open, and so that's why I'm just going to add these 2 strips here and close it up, and it'll be ready to be used on our surface. Okay, so that's already there. And then we already have our heart ready to go. It's fun with these die cut pieces to just cut a bunch of things up to start with. You might not necessarily know where they're going to end up. Hopefully this is a great little template for you to kind of just get warmed up. And basically this is what's going to happen here. And then what I did for my heart is I did not put in the envelope. It will actually stick outside of the envelope a bit, but I put a hole at the top, and then using this silver twine, I wrapped the key around it. First, though, before we finalize this, and obviously we've already figured out where everything is going to go, I'm going to grab the heart lollipops, and like I said, it has 2 pieces to it. I'm just going to utilize the hearts part because I think those hearts are so cute. Now I'm using the tattered rose. The tattered rose isn't an exact fit for this palette, but because it's in the background, like I'm going to be using it, it's going to work pretty darn good. So I'm not going heavy on here, but I just wanted to add some interest. I want to add in the color, the ink color, until I basically can just see it. So that's kind of my guide as I was adding this layer to my card. And because, like I said, the color is a little bit more, in this instance, it feels a little more peachy, a little more creamy than maybe the rest of the colors are going. If you just don't love tattered rose, I happen to love this color, then, you know, use a more pinky color for you. I might have actually gone a little dark on that, but I think it's going to be okay. Okay, one of my best friends for when I am layering elements up and I'm building up from the back to the front is double-sided foam adhesive. So grab that if you are making this at home. And what I'm going to start to do is with this first, this ticket. This could be any kind of ticket. Use what you have and make what you have work. There's lots of paper, pattern papers out there that have tickets on them. There's stamps. You could stamp this out. And this is going to come along here just about right on. I got to go heavy on the right side, so I'm lining up here on this last grid, if you will, and popping it up right there. The next thing I want to go ahead and pop up is this Polaroid stamp die, and this is a perfect place for some of these 1/8 inch strips. This is what Scrapbook.com has available in the 1/8 I'm not sure what that word was. 1/8 inch. There she goes. She can say it. And I think I'm going to make that work right there. It didn't need a whole lot. I'm just kind of just popping it up a little bit here. Bringing it over so that it's at an angle. Oops, let's take off the backer paper. That usually is suggested. Here we go. And, you know, I'm replicating something that I already have made here. It's never going to turn out the same, so I'm trying not to worry about that. All right, let's add in our envelope next. See, this is just kind of a building from the back forward as best as possible. And this is going to kind of tuck underneath here a little bit on the right side. And just, if I can get that in there, and just kind of go at an angle here. Okay, so with my heart, I am going to poke a hole. I need it pretty small, so I'm just going to use this tool here to gently put that in there. And then the key is going to be part of this. So just taking this silver, oh, let's cut it, there we go. Just taking this silver twine, and I'm going to tie it through, or put it through my heart first, and make a loop. I'm going to put my 2 ends through the loop and just kind of get that in place. And so now I can tie my heart on there, on my key rather, the little cute key. Cute key! It's so cute. It was the thing that really drew me into this, that and the envelope, because it's just so tiny, and we love the tiny things. But this key is fantastic. And I've already kind of played with it in some other areas too. And, you know, it's great to have your pieces just kind of, not tools, but like your supplies, especially if you made a bunch of die cuts. It's just kind of great to have them sort of just loose and you know, like I showed you that inspiration board, just kind of, you find a place to put it and kind of stick it, and you're going to be like, oh, that's kind of cool. Okay, what if I did this? I think that's a thing that's going to happen as I play around with some of these inspiration boards. That's kind of what happened with another idea for this key, was like, oh, I like the way that looks. Let me see if I can, you know, cluster that up, and maybe we'll do that here today too. I'm going to grab another piece of the foam squares. I'm just going to tuck it in here so it's kind of going into the envelope, kind of not. The key can be loose and kind of dangly. Oh, love that, love that, love that. Okay, so this is a great time to just add in our banners, and I'm also going to just stress them just a bit. I don't know, I just can't leave anything alone. I have to give it a little bit of extra something something. So that's what I'm doing here, just adding in that little bit of distress. And then what I'm going to do to layer these in here, this is an old trick, this is something I've done forever. I'm going to grab my tiny attacher, staple them together because they're just like I want them to be, and that way I can tuck them in here and they're already like a set pair. I'm going to grab this probably more than I needed, this hot glue, and then just tuck, 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 tuck. Yeah, pretty happy with that so far. Now on this one I didn't make the pocket, but remember on here I did make a pocket. So it was just adding 1/8 inch adhesive all the way around, cutting out a little bite, and you got yourself a really easy pocket. That's our easy pocket. That's our pocket 101. Okay, so since we have the hot glue ready to go, I'm going to grab my hearts, these little tiny hearts. These make just for some fun confetti. It just needs a little bit of glue on there. You could also use craft glue. Oh, wait. Okay, I grabbed this little bit of rub-on text from 49 and Market, and I'm just going to place it here about even in the middle. It's just adding just a little bit of interest with that little bit of text. It's a little off-white and kind of creamy, but I think it works. You could also, before you started layering your clustered pieces, you could also maybe stamp in here instead of adding the text paper. So just wanted to share with you what's going on with this. After we get this in place, then we're going to make our little sentiment tag, and this will pretty much be done. All right, what I'm going to do next here is add in these little heart, what I call heart confettis. And I like to use the hot glue because I can keep them fairly elevated. You can do the same thing with craft glue. It works just as well. For me, I'm not trying to be quick here in my making, but the hot glue just, you know, it just dries a little faster and a little quicker. So I don't know, maybe I just lied to you. Maybe I am trying to make it quicker. I'm really not. But I've just always kind of been a fan of hot glue. My kids have always teased me that I have the hot glue on 24/7 in the craft room. They can always have access to it because it's just always on. Okay, maybe it's not actually that bad, but almost. I'm a fan. So these are just, I did 3 up here on this left-hand part of our cluster. And then these other 2 are going to come over here and kind of cluster together themselves right here on this bottom left little part of our card. Okay, to finish this card up, I'm going to stamp a sentiment from a piece of scrap paper. I have cut the this die piece out here. It's from Sweet Valentine. You know, and basically because, let's be honest, I can't cut things straight. So I like to have these sentiment dies so that they just perfectly hold the sentiment right. Now, the thing I'm going to come back and do, though, is trim off just this end here to make it look a little banner-esque. It's just a look that I really like, and so I'm going to add it onto here. And then with foam dots, I'm going to place this right here. All right, in this segment, we're just going to bang out a couple of quick little clusters because I really think I could just make clusters with bits and bobs all day long. Who's with me? Raise your hand. Okay, so what I have here is basically scraps. And you know how you just kind of cut things up and you're like, oh, I'm not really going to use that. So I just got simple things here from that Valentine paper, as well as some 49 and Market paper and hearts and some stamp sentiments. And I don't think I'm using everything, but you never know. This piece of paper here is literally a scrap, and I'm going to build on here. So the first thing I'm going to do is this little circle here is telling me to stencil it and then to stencil it again. One of my favorite stencils from ScrapbookCom is this scattered heart stencil. Now, at the making of this was in a notify mode, so I know I have clicked notify me when in stock, but this is so great for all the time, not just Valentine. So it's just one of those staple kind of stencils. It's just something you should probably just have in your stash. Now, this is going to be super subtle because I'm doing sponge sugar on pink. And I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I think I'm going to like it a lot because what I'm going to do next, see, can you see what I got going on there? Yeah, you can see that. Okay, so what I'm going to do next, now this is another favorite stencil. It's called Heart Grid. Very tiny little hearts. But I thought it was going to be fun to layer it over the ink. And now, if I can open it, I have this pearl white stardust butter from the Craft Warehouse. And I got it for Christmas, and then I never used it. You know how that goes. You know how that goes. But it's okay, because we'll find a reason to use it here for these seasonal makes. So I'm just going to apply that through the stencil, just like we normally would. Now, this is going to need a minute to dry, so we're going to let that happen. Can you see that subtle adorableness on there? Oh, I mean, can the hearts be any more subtle and small and adorable? They probably could, but I think not. I'm going to prep my little scrap piece here by notching it. And so I come up the middle, and then I take the corner and I meet the top of my cut. I do the same thing on the other side. And then I'm going to grab my little spatula and just go ahead and rough up the edges. Okay, so why do we make clusters? Because they're great fodder for all the things that I always share on here, from tags to cards to scrapbook pages to memory planner. It's just great pieces, elements, parts to have around for whatever. And sometimes, like you saw on that inspiration board, I just like gathering things, and it also could make a great even decoration in your making space, your craft room, your studio. So there's just lovely reasons for making these elements. So you saw this was again that Pink Fresh banner, basic banners they call that. I'm going to put this on here, and then you know what I want to do? Yep, you're right. I want to just touch this up a little bit. It doesn't have to be crazy distressed. I just want it to have a little bit of pull up on the edges. So you can also use a metal ruler. If you had like a 6-inch metal ruler, that works here too. So we're going to pop this up here. I'm going to let the banner from the back show through on both sides, of course. And then I have this I love you, or just love you. I also did that on the Valentine paper. I'm going to use, again, another square dimensional foam here. And I'm going to let this overlap. There's so many ways you could do this. This is just one way. I wonder if I made my grid straight now that I'm looking at it. Okay, then I have cut this from some 49 and Market pattern paper. Yep, you guessed it yet again. Gonna grab a dimensional foam. I'm going back and forth between the 1 millimeter and the 2 millimeter. And then I think this piece of Prima ribbon, I think it goes with what I have going on here. And here's my little trick with this. I just kind of get a scrunchy thing going on. Then I kind of like with those banners that we did earlier, I staple it. I add some glue to it. Hot glue is my friend. And I am just going to go pop it right in under here as best and as quickly as I can because I got that hot glue. It doesn't have to be perfect or flat or anything. It's just kind of fun. Okay, so let's wrap it up with this other cluster. I've crafted a label. I'm using these stitch tickets. So label is my base. The tickets, I'm giving them a little inking on the edges. Gonna pop that up. So again, building from the back forward and using our friends, the adhesive foam squares or dots or whatever your preference is. I'm also using this letter die from the Valentine set. It's super cutie, and it's just there's a letter-like size piece and then an envelope sort of outline that pops on top of it. And then this heart is from another die set. I think I'm going to be using this heart a lot. I really like its shape. It's a nice kind of medium size. So it's going to find its way tucked right behind the envelope as part of the layering there. And then I'm going to finish up with the sentiment. I've already stamped that. These are great to just kind of have pre-stamped as part of your stash for just making and going and making these Valentine clusters, because we always want to have a little phraseology to go with them. I'm using the 1/8 inch here to pop it up. I'm going to finish it up with a little stash of ribbon, just like the other one. So kind of variation on a theme. Remember, that is a powerful way to get your stash used and some clusters made. Thank you so much for watching this. Be sure and check out the videos that I've mentioned in this, and I'll see you next time.